Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Weekly Edit. My name is Antoinette. I am a coach for parents of autism, and I am in it because I have my own son who's on the spectrum, and his name is Max, and he's 11 years old. Now, today I have got a goodie for you, and I want to be talking about being in a victim mentality. And before your brain jumps in and says, no, this one doesn't apply to me, just stay with me here for a minute because this is not about judging you and it's not about dismissing what you've been through. This is about your power. Now, victim mentality isn't a weakness, it isn't a personality flaw. It's not something that only happens to people who can't cope. I've lived it for years and I didn't even see it until my own coach actually pointed it out to me. And my mind was blown because when I started noticing it, it was everywhere in my life. And I would have told you that I was strong, that I was capable, that I was doing all the things that I wanted to do and could possibly do. And I was, and at the same time, I was giving my power away, and I didn't even realize it. And if I had to guess, many of you are doing the same. Now, it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. Being a victim is a very sneaky, sneaky little thing. So, what is a victim mentality? It's when we make someone or something else responsible for how we feel about everything and about our life. That's it. Now, what does it look like? It sounds like, oh, if the school just supported us properly, things would be different. If my partner just showed up more, things would be different. I wouldn't feel so alone. If things were easier, I'd be able to breathe. If my boss paid me more, dot, dot, dot. And the part that makes this complicated, some of these things, or all of them, may be true. The system may not be supporting you. Your partner may need to do more. People might genuinely not understand your life. People are avoiding you. But the moment that your emotional life depends on them changing, you've handed away your power. You've handed them your power. And most of the time, they don't even know that they've got it. You're lying awake, replaying it in your head and carrying it and feeling all the feels. And they're just over there living their lives. So how does it show up? You find you're telling the same story over and over and over, not to process it, but a part of you needs to be validated. Perhaps you feel defensive when someone offers you a different perspective. Even if they're trying to help, you start thinking, what's the point? And then you stop taking meaningful action. You've identified someone else as the problem or the reason, and now everything they do confirms it. Perhaps you'll start making autism the reason for everything, not a fact, not something that you've got to deal with, but the reason you can't have the life you want or to do the things that you want to do. Now, I am not saying that autism doesn't impact your life because for sure we know it does. But when it becomes the reason that you can't be happy or connect with people or be in that feeling of possibility, find a partner, start that business or go for that career or travel, you are giving your power away. When you're in victim mode, you stop creating, you stop leading, you stop moving. You just complaining to everyone who will listen. And you don't mean for it to be that way, but it feels like nothing you do is ever going to change when you're in that space. And then, even when you notice it, you start waiting. You're waiting for things to improve. You're waiting for people to start changing. You're waiting for to feel better before you take action. And here's the part that matters the most. Your child is watching and they are learning What do we do when life is hard? What do we do when things feel unfair? Do we hide or do we still show up? Now, the great news is you can be in a difficult situation and still be powerful. These two things can exist at the same time. So, let me give you an example. So, instead of thinking, the teacher doesn't understand my child, ask the question instead, how can I help the teacher understand my child better? Or perhaps you're thinking that my partner never helps. Maybe think, what do I need to clearly communicate to them to ask for what I need? Or instead of saying our life is limited because of autism, it- rather ask the question, what kind of life do I want to create, even having all these things of autism in our lives? It's just a small thinking shift just by asking the right questions. Now, a lot of people believe that if they accept autism, they are going to stop trying, as if autism means giving up. But it's not how it works. Acceptance is not surrender. It's ownership. And ownership is where your power lies. This is where I am right now, and I am going to change what I can. Again, both can exist. Now, I also don't want you to hear this and think, so I've got to be strong all the time. No, 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 no. There's a difference between a victim mentality and vulnerability. And vulnerability says, this is hard, I'm really struggling, and I need some help. Victim mentality says, this is hard because of them. And until they change, nothing's going to happen. So one connects you to people and the other one keeps you stuck. And you are allowed to feel all the things. You are allowed to have hard days. You are allowed to say, this is really freaking hard. That's not the problem. The question is, who are you making responsible for how you feel? So, what do you actually do with this? Just a small awareness shift. Start noticing your language. When you hear yourself saying, I can't because they won't fill in the blank. Nothing ever changes, filling in the blank. Just take a moment and ask, what is in my control here? Because something is always in your control. Give people back their behavior. And this is really powerful. Someone can be difficult and unhelpful and even hurtful, and you don't have to take it on or react. It's theirs. They can feel it, just process it, and still not hand them your emotional life. I often find it helps by saying, replacing or with and. I can accept where I am and still want more. I can love this person and I can create boundaries. I can feel overwhelmed and still take a small step forward. Life isn't either or, it's both. It's and. And maybe the most important question of all, how do you want to show up here, regardless of what other people do? Even if you don't get the result that you want, or you get on or get them to change it all, who do you want to be in that situation? Look, I know you have lots of reasons to feel the way you feel, very real, valid reasons. And this is not about taking that away from you. But I just want you to consider this. Do you want to be right or do you want to be free? Because you can be completely justified in your pain or your anger and be stuck inside of it. And that is a super expensive place to live. Remember, your kiddo is watching you. They're not judging, but they are learning. What do you want them to see? All right, my friends, that's what I have for you today. So please take a moment to join the Facebook group and we can carry on with the discussion. And another thing that I have just started doing, I am offering once off one-on-one coaching sessions. So please go into the link. I'm sure it's at the bottom of this email and click the link to book a coaching call with me. It's once off, so bring me your problem and we are going to brainstorm some solutions and we're going to coach the heck out of it. So I hope to see you soon. Otherwise, I will see you next week.